I assigned this homework problem, and I wrote this homework problem, and this is a terrible problem, so I'm going to solve it. Okay, so the problem has these two blocks sitting on an incline, and it says, okay, we have the top block's 0.9 kilograms, the next block's 2.1 kilograms, the coefficient of static friction is 0.5 for all surfaces, so between this block and that block and that block and that block. The question says, what is the force the plane exerts on the bottom block? Okay, it's really bad, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to do this three ways. Okay, the first way is the simplest way possible. Let's go to the board and let's solve the first way. What's the force? I'm going to give it as a vector. What's the force of the plane on the bottom block? Okay, so over here, let's go to the board. This is the board. Right, okay. So the question is, what's the force this exerts on that? Number one trick, I'm going to say, okay, I have two objects, but do I really need to treat them as two objects? If I treat this as just one object, that's fine. Let's treat that as one object. That's my first way. So here's my new object. I'm going to call it object 3, and it's maybe like this. We know the mass is the sum of the masses, so the mass is going to be 2.1 kilograms plus 0.9 kilograms. So that's 3 kilograms. See, I didn't even need a calculator to do that. Did it right here in my head. Now we're going to draw a free body diagram on our new composite object. So we like to break this into long range and contact forces. So what long range forces are acting on this? I'm going to put my diagram right here. I have the gravitational force. I'm going to call this M3, G, that's the gravitational field. And I know the object's at rest, and I have one other force, which is a contact force. There's only one thing touching my block, and that is this plane. So I'm going to call it F plane. It has to be up. It has to be straight up. It has to be straight up because if I have two forces that add up to 0, that's the only way that it can work. Now we can pick our x and y axis. So this is x and y. That seems to make sense. And I can say F net in the y direction is going to be Fp, the force the plane exerts up, and minus M3g, and that's going to be equal to 0. Can I solve that for Fp? Yes, I can. So let's do that. Fp is going to be equal to M3, and this is the y component, M3g, and that's going to be 3 times 9.8. So I do have a calculator. Let's go ahead and plug that in the calculator. I'm not going to do that one in my head. I mean, I think I could get very close. It's around 30, right? We know that's almost 10, so it's a little less than 30. So I have 3 enter 9.8 times, and I get 29.4. See, I told you. 29.4 newtons. Now, if I want to write that as a vector, I'd write this as Fp as the vector 0, 29.40 newtons, or however you like to write your vector components. X hat, y hat is fine too. That's it, done. Okay, let's do it again. I told you I'd do it 3 ways. And you may be thinking, but wait, we didn't use the coefficient of friction. Well, we didn't need to, okay? And in fact, we're never really going to need to. Now I'm going to not treat these as two separate blocks. So I'm going to start with this block right here. Here's my block 1. Well, what forces are acting on block 1? Well, I know block 2 pushes up on it, and gravity pulls down. So I'm going to draw my free body diagram like this. I'm going to call that block 1, so that's M1G. That's the only long range force. What's contacting that block is just block 2. So I'm going to call this F2 on 1. This is block 2 pushing on block 1. Okay. So in that case, I can again say that block's at rest. So if that block's at rest and I pick this as my x-axis and that is my y, I can say F net y is going to be F2 1 minus M1G equals 0. I can take this and I can solve for F2 1. F2 1 equals M1G, and that's going to be, I'm going to leave it and I'm not going to put the number in because I don't want to. Okay, now I have that. Now let's go over to block 2. For block 2, I have a free body diagram. So what's acting on block 2? Well, I have the gravitational force, M2G, and then I have the table pushing up. But first, let's put this force on there, right? So if block 2 pushes up on 1, block 1 pushes down on 2. So I'm going to write that right here. I'll put it sideways. F2, 1, 2. Right? Remember, Newton's second law says that, and Newton's third law, F2 on 1 is equal to negative F1 on 2. For every force, there's an equal and opposite force. Forces come in pairs. So if block 1 pushes up, block 2 pushes down on block 1. And so it has to be down. Now we're back to that same situation. I have 2 forces pushing down. The only way I can make this work is to have an upwards pushing force, F, from the plane. Now I can again pick my x-axis, my y-axis, and I can write my net force in the y direction. F net y is 0. It's at rest. So I have Fp, and then I have minus, see it's down, minus F1, 2, and then I have that one, minus M2g equals 0. And I want to solve for that. Fp is F1, 2 plus mg2g. Now remember, this is equal to that in magnitude where I took into account the direction. So it's going to be equal to m1g plus m2g. That's m1 plus m2g. Well, m1 was 0.9, m2 was 2.1, so that's 3, and we're right back to where we were. We got the exact same answer. That's cool. Okay, those are the 2 most logical ways to solve the problem. Now, you could make yourself get into a lot of trouble by trying to make this more complicated than it needs to be. So suppose I want to look at the forces on block 1 and I draw it like this. Here's the block. And I say, okay, well, I have a gravitational force, m1g. Now I'm going to say block 2 pushes this way with a normal force in 1 on 2. No, this is 2. 2 on 1. I can't write. And that's an N that way. And then I have a friction force this way. F friction. Okay, you can definitely do that. The problem is I don't know. I can figure it out. I don't really care about the frictional force, right? I can't use the coefficient of friction to find this because I didn't say it was at the maximum friction. Static friction can change. I can still find it. I don't want to, but I can. Let's do it anyway. So here's this angle. This is 25 degrees. That's theta. So that's theta right there. So if I want to find that friction force, let's do it. Let's call this the y direction and this the x direction. So F net y is going to be into 1, I'll just leave off the dash, minus this component of the gravitational force, which is the adjacent side of this right triangle. So it's going to be minus m1g cosine theta, and that has to equal 0. So I can solve for this normal force. Into 1 is m1g cosine theta. That's it. Now I can use that to find this force right here, the friction force. Actually, I can't, right? Because that would be the maximum friction force. I can find this force just by going up here. F net x is going to be equal to the friction force in the negative x direction minus this component of gravity minus m1g sine theta, where x is the opposite side. And that's equal to 0. So this force is going to be plus. This friction force is going to be equal to m1g sine theta. So now I have the 2 components of the interaction between this block and that block. And let's just find the magnitude of that, just for fun. Okay, so the magnitude, I'll call it F2 on 1. Magnitude is going to be equal to the magnitude of the y component plus the x component. So this is going to be the square root of the x component squared, m1 squared g squared sine squared theta plus the y component, which is m1g cosine theta. I'm running out of room, starting over. Let's put it right here. I can delete that. Okay, so let's put it right here. So F21 magnitude is the square root of m1 squared g squared cosine squared theta plus m1 squared g squared sine squared theta. Well, look what happens here. I can factor out the m1 squared g squared, and I get m1 g times the square root of cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta. Oh my goodness, what is that? Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So I get the same thing I got before for the force in that top block. Now if I go down to the next block, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing. I can find that friction force, but I don't really need to, right? There's no coefficient of friction that matters here because I didn't say it was at the maximum slipping point. The only thing you could do is to calculate the maximum friction force and see if it does indeed slide. I just assume it doesn't. But again, it was a poor test homework question. If I gave this on a test, I'd be a bad person. So I wouldn't do that. Hope that helps. Sorry about the bad question.